The price of inaction. The price of inaction is the greatest punishment that we could suffer in the near future if we do not solve our inequality problem in the United States. If we do not do nothing now in the near future, then we are going to see a market crash into the future, into 2014 and 2016. I personally believe that the inaction of the House of Representatives, they are so sidetracked of hating the president that they rather do nothing. They'll rather do nothing than do anything at all to help the American people. The House Republican obstructionism has caused us to lose jobs over the long run. This is going to cause us to erode our economic foundation, which is the middle class. If the middle class continues to erode away over time, because the middle class is what buys goods and services. If the middle class no longer exists, therefore, there's not going to be no one to buy the goods and services that feed into the richest coffers. If there is no demand, there is no supply. If there is no supply, there is no economy. We're also at risk of having the Republicans take the Senate next year. The Democrats need to hold the Senate, and they have to get seats into Congress to break the deadlock. To break the deadlock in Congress, you need to have a Congress, a House that is friendly, and a Senate that is friendly. If the Republicans get the House and the Senate, they can force any legislation they want to. And if 2016 comes around and we have a Republican president, and this Republican president is going to suffer the inaction that his party has done back in the early teens. What we need to do as Democrats is to hit the message hard. What we need to do is be good when it comes to speaking. And we need to start doing with our actions. The problem with the Republican Party is that if it comes down to it, if it comes to another crash due to the inaction of the Obama presidency, then the economy of 2014, 2016 belongs to them. They're the ones that caused the mess in the first place. We also need to be wary of Ted Cruz and Scott Walker. If these people come into power, they're most likely going to see more deregulation and more eroding of the middle class. This eroding of the middle class is what bleeds jobs away. Scott Walker and Ted Cruz does not care about the middle class. They don't care about you. They don't care about our children. They only care about one thing, and that is the corporation and the corporate power that is at being. If Ted Cruz or Scott Walker sits in the presidential office, then you will see a transition of the United States from a free country into a fascist state. You'll see the power of ALEC getting stronger. You'll see the power of free trade. which gives our sovereignty as a nation away through these free trade deals. If these people get elected, they are going to drown out our voices. And if these people get elected, and if they suffer a major crash in the Scott Walker presidency or the Ted Cruz presidency, they're going to do the more of the same that we saw during the Bush administration. They're going to cut more for the rich, and they're going to outsource more. They are going to ignore economic wisdom. This particular problem can send Americans over the edge. We need a friendly Congress and a friendly Senate to help the president gain his momentum. We also need to reform the filibuster law. Right now, the filibuster law has give the minority veto power over what goes through the Senate. We need to do away with the filibuster and restore up and down votes. We also need strong policies right now to increase the wealth of the middle class, to make job creation more easy and more affordable, to make colleges more affordable. But with the inaction of the good for nothing Congress, you're most likely going to see college tuitions to go up. College tuitions are 500% higher than the inflation price. This calls students to pay more out of their pockets instead of the university. The university is also in bed with big corporations like Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac, who provide student loans. The student loans come straight from the government now, but we need more reforms. The increasing student debt puts a chain on everyone's legs. The increasing of job scarcity is going to be a problem going into the 2014 election. This is due to the fact that the president didn't pass his Jobs Bill Act. The American Jobs Bill Act was cut into smaller pieces, and only the tax rebate and tax refunds were passed. None of the construction, none of the speed rail, or the advancement of technology. What we need in the United States is to increase our exports and limit our imports. What we need to do is get off of this free trade policy that we are on. This free trade policy makes our enemies stronger and is of that of natural security. Free trade has made communist China much stronger than they would have been. Actually, we're keeping communist China alive. By keeping communist China alive, we put ourselves into moral danger. What we need to do is to break the gridlock in Congress. And you do not break the deadlock by going to Republicans. You break the deadlock by electing House Democrats and Senate Democrats. If the Republicans if the Republicans take all three, in 2014, if they took the House, the Senate, Obama's presidency is over. They are going to pass laws that are not in the interests of us as citizens. The president is going to veto many of those laws. So therefore, you're not going to break the deadlock. You're actually going to abstain the deadlock, because the president can refuse to sign a bill into law, and he can veto as many times as he wants. Think of the veto as his filibuster. So you're going to create more gridlock, but you're going to have the House will able to pass their laws through the Senate now, because the Republicans will have a friendly in the Senate. But what we need to do is make them the minority. What we need to do is reform our election laws. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party long ago signed a pact that blocked all entrance into the all new parties from becoming major parties. Let's say if Ted Cruz becomes president and we have a House and Senate becomes completely red, you're going to see laws that are not going to be focusing on job creation. You're going to see laws are being written about abortion. You're going to see more union breaking laws, make harder for unions to create and come together. You're going to see increased tax breaks for the top 1%, and it's going to increase the tax burden for you and for everyone else. If the Republicans come into power, they're going to tank the economy. What's going to happen is that the time that they come into power, they're going to pass policies that will further erode the foundation of our economics. And if there is no demand at the bottom, if there is no demand, therefore there is no supply. The demand is what drives the economy. And if there is no demand, this is going to cause a major stock market crash. The people who are investing in the stock market are not going to have no customers. Stores are not going to have any customers. They're not going to have no one. Because you want to know why? Because this Congress with its inaction will cause the collapse of the Senate and the United States economy. If we do not do nothing right now, we're going to pay for it later. Inaction and procrastination is the danger of civilization. The danger of civilization is inaction. If there is inaction now, then later down the road, maybe in the next, after Ted Cruz or after Hillary Clinton, if Hillary Clinton becomes president, or what's his name? Not John Boehner, but if Clinton becomes president, there's going to still be an action, because you're going to have a Republican House and a Republican Senate. And it is just going to be along down the road. But if something happens, If something happens to, if the economy does crash, this makes more working men and women more stronger as a society. If what would happen after the market crashes is that all the wealthy people that have gambled on the stock market, they will lose everything. They'll lose everything because the stock market was driven artificially due to labor cuts, price reduction, or a price reduction of labor, and cheap labor, and firing employees that are native born. Without the middle class driving the economy, you don't have an economy. You have an economy that is barely hanging on. We need to be careful in sheep's and wolf clothing. We need to be careful of more trickle down economics. If the Republicans are into power, and the corporations are too powerful, the corporations are going to fill in that power vacuum. The corporations will rather have a fascist state than a democracy. I personally believe by inviting Citizens United, we have invited fascism into our hearts. And when the wolves are pulled over our eyes and the instruments of fascism wraps themselves around the Republican Party, and the fascists will use the Republican Party as its tool, as their tool, then we all suffer the price of inaction. Because we're the ones that are going to be working for the major corporations. And when corporation becomes government, when corporations becomes government, we all suffer. Because the corporation has no feelings, no thoughts of its own. And when you take away, if fascism is going to come, it is going to come from the Republican Party. It is going to come from that gun nut who loves his guns. It is going to come from the social Republicans. It is going to come from the religious right. If fascism will come to the United States, it will come by a ballot. It will come by viva election. Because I personally believe that the fascists, the Republican fascists, are in the final stage of converting the United States into a fascist country. And then we will pay the price. The price of inaction is the cost of our liberty. The cost of our liberty is too great to count. Those who wrap themselves in the flag and root for our country, but secretly wrap themselves in money and into their corporate masters. Those who claim to love the flag and claim to love their motherland. will also will also will give they, they will also give them the keys to our government. It is those who are into power that will hand over the keys of our government to the major corporations. And we can build a powerful economy now with the right policies. With the right policies, we can build a greater power. We can build an economy that is driven and a company that is competitive. If you like this video, subscribe and like. Share this video with your friends and family. And talk about this video with your friends. See you later.